Hello everyone. Yeah, if you can hear me, then just message in chat box. Okay. Okay. Great. We'll wait for a few more seconds and we'll start. Yeah. Great. So guys, welcome to Boots and Crampons. I'm Pranjal Khatal. Welcome to our brand new live session of Conquering and Learning the Seven Summits. I would like to welcome for this best session, I'll say. Our previous session was held by Mr. Arun Kumar Tiwari. He told about his Elbrus experience, his handling the corporate world and mountaineering. So we had learned a lot of mountain ethics from him as well. And today's session is with one of the best, I'll say the treasure of the experiences he have. He is basically straight away from Netherlands. I would like to introduce him. He is Peter Boogaard. He is from Netherlands. He has the 40 years plus mountaineering experiences. He has done his 7 summits from 2007 to 2016. Besides this, he has done many treks and expeditions in Alps, in Rockies, in Andes, and many more. Besides this, he is an national level alpine instructor in Netherlands. He is associated with Royal Dutch Mountaineering Association. Besides this, he is PhD in toxicology. He has 30 years plus working in Shell company. He is a chief toxicologist there. Besides this, again, I'll say he is a professor of environmental health in the Department of Toxicology in the University of Wageningen. So we have a really good personality here, and I'll send him a request. Just a second. Yeah. Hey Peter.
Hello.
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Great.
Very good. Very
good.
Yeah.
First of all, thank you so much, Peter, for giving us your valuable time for this live session. We are excited. Yeah, we are excited to hear your experiences about Mount Denali and other sort of experiences.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so we'll start with our conversation. So, Peter, tell me, when did you fall in love with mountains and mountaineering? Tell us about your initial treks and all these things. Yep.
Well, it's a long time ago, in the previous century, in the, say, 1970s. My parents took me to the mountains, but they just walked from one place to another. That's about it. And so I walked with them. And then when I was studying, 1983, I think it was, I studied chemistry and pharmacy. And the Royal Dutch Society of Pharmacy, they have a prize each year for the best student of the year. That happened to be me. And I got a leather wallet with 1,000 guilders. And for me, as a poor student, that was a small fortune. And I turned this money in holidays in Austria with my best friend. He's still my best friend.
Mm-hmm.
And we walked in the mountains. And we hitchhiked because we were still poor students. And one day we got a hike from a very old couple, probably my age now. And they had climbed the Wildspitze, which is the highest mountain in Tyrol, the west part of Austria. And then we thought, oh, if these old people can do it, we can do it. So in the local shop, we rented crampons and an ice axe. And actually we did it without a rope. We had no clue. At the time, it was still an icy mountain, so we climbed the ice wall and everything. And I now realize it is extremely dangerous what we did. We had no clue whatsoever, but we did it, and then we decided to climb another mountain not far from there. Actually, it's Zimilaan, and that's where Ötzi was found, the men from Middle Ages, and then we went to the shop again, and then the lady said, "Huh, so you need it for 2 days?" And we said, "No, we get up early. We do it in 1 day." That's what we did. But then when I came back in the Netherlands, I read a bit about it, and then I thought, "Oh, maybe it's not such a good idea." And then actually I did my first course in mountaineering, and that started everything off.
Oh, it's been a great journey until the mountaineering. How was your course? How was your course, mountaineering? Tell us about that.
Oh, that's very interesting. We do a lot of these courses every year.
Mm-hmm.
So I did it in Italy, in the Ortler Massif. So we climbed the Ortler, which is a mountain just below 4,000 meters.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, it was very interesting. And then I did the advanced course and the very advanced course and, ice climbing course and everything.
Oh, that's wonderful.
I was sold to mountaineering pretty fast.
Oh, okay. So, what was your age? When did you started the technical climb and all this thing?
23.
Oh, see.
So pretty old.
Oh, yeah, that's great. So, when did you get an idea, or when did you start this ambition to do the 7 summits? Now you want to do the 7th summit. So, when did you?
Yeah, in 2007, I had planned to climb Mount Ararat in Turkey, but for some political reason, we were not allowed to travel into Turkey. And then one of there's 10 7 summiteers in the Netherlands in total. And probably the most famous one is Wilke van Rooyen. He was then still busy doing the 7 summits, and he had 2 to go. Elbrus and Vinson. Okay. So I approached him and I joined him on Elbrus, which is the highest of Europe. Yeah. And that was very nice and fine. I had no intention to do the 7 summits then. Then 2 years later, I did Denali, and that's an interesting story. Since I'm an alpine instructor, you have to do an awful lot of continuous education. Every 3 years, you have to do a master class and this sort of stuff. And then during daytime, you do all kinds of, practical stuff in the mountains. In the evenings, you get sensitivity type of thing, psychological babble. And one evening, there were only men there. You had to write down your wettest dream in mountaineering. And the thing I wrote down then was climbing Denali, the coldest mountain on the globe. And apparently that people had remembered that. So in 2009, or actually it was still 2008, I was called by 3 guys. I said, we're going to climb Denali, the Dutch Denali expedition, and we need a 4th one, and we have heard you might want to join us. And actually, my wife said kind of, what do you mean? 1 in 250 guys on that mountain, you have a family, no way. So actually, I was skiing in Austria. I called the guys, I said, I'd love to go, but it's not going to happen because I'm not allowed to go. But then about, I think 3 weeks later, my wife said, well, this doesn't make you happy either. If you need to go, go. So I went.
Yeah. Okay. That's wonderful. That's wonderful. What was your best memory on Elbrus? When you climbed the Elbrus? Yeah.
Yeah, it's a long time ago. Actually, it was the highest I ever got. It's 5,642, I think. I've been to 5,000 in Chile, in the Andes, before, in 1992, I remember. So it was higher than ever. That was nice. And it was very special. You have to fly first to Moscow and then to Mineralko, which is a military airport. Right, and then you go overland. and it was terrible weather. There was enormous landslide, so we were stuck in the mud for a day. But altogether, it was a very nice experience. Probably the nicest thing was we had a guide, a local guide called Igor, and he refused to use all the modern equipment they were building for the Olympics, and always took us up in extremely old cable cars, that sort of thing, which were full of bullet holes.
Oh.
And one of the reasons is it's on the border of Georgia, and that's probably the nicest memory. There were a lot of soldiers there. The year after, in 2008, Georgia and Russia started to fight, but they already had soldiers there. And one night we put up our camp, and then one of the soldiers came to me, and well, I don't speak Russian, but he signed, and it was obvious that he didn't want us to stay there. So we moved our camp, a few hundred meters away, and then he gave me a bullet. I still got it, a Russian bullet, and I still don't know to the present day whether that's a good or a bad sign, but I got a Russian bullet as a gift.
That's again, that's great. We have a question from Passion in Adventure. He's asking question: any plans of climbing in India? Has he ever been to India, travel or expeditions?
Well, I've set foot on Indian soil many times, flying to Kathmandu, at least 3 times. And I once was in Goa in India for a conference, and then I did quite a bit of touristy stuff. But that's about it. And actually, I had plans climbing in Pakistan and Nepal, but I have no plans for India. Once I'm done with everything I've planned now, I'll consider.
Okay. We'll talk about it after some time. We'll come to our Denali expedition. So take us through your planning, preparation, and everything for the Denali expedition.
Yeah, as I said, there were 4 of us. One of the guys worked actually at the office of the Royal Dutch Mountaineering Society. So he had some good contacts. We tried to get sponsors. That's extremely difficult. Getting sponsors for these type of trips is very, very difficult. But we got some sponsorship. The North Face company actually is a sponsor of the Royal Dutch Climbing Society. And so we could buy our down jackets and stuff for less than half the price with them, which was good. And we got our freeze-dried food sponsored, but that was about it. So that was good. And for the rest, Denali, of course, is in Alaska, which is the United States. It's a national park, so a lot of things have been arranged. Buying a permit is really easy. You can do it through the internet. There are ranges there that give you instructions and stuff. They give out about 1,000 permits a year, which means in the season, that many people go there, which means there is some sort of infrastructure. We actually flew to Seattle in Washington State, then to Anchorage in Alaska, and then we took a local company called Denali Overland, which rent vans, and they bring you in a little van with your luggage to Talkeetna. And if you know Talkeetna, you've climbed Denali, because that's a tiny, tiny, tiny village. It has 4 streets called A Street, B Street, First Street, Second Street. It's very funny. And it has a few hundred inhabitants, and it lives from bringing people to Denali. So we actually booked a flight on Talkeetna Air Taxi, TAT, and they flew us to the Denali Glacier with all our luggage. And actually, that company, when we came back, they have a bunkhouse where you can sleep, this sort of thing. So actually, the logistics to get into Denali are not extremely complex. The main thing is that you have to be really prepared in what you bring. We hired sledges in base camp. You have to pre-arrange, but you have to, because you have to bring a shitload of stuff. fuel to melt ice, food, your equipment, way too much to carry. I think we had like 30, 35 kilograms each.
Yeah.
You can have 20 on your back, but that's about the max. So you have to use sledges until basin camp or medical camp. And that's what we did. But by and large, I don't think for this expedition, the logistics are not the major hurdle.
Okay. How did you how someone should prepare for Denali? Because we'll see again afterwards that how do you done the summits and all these things. But how did you prepare for Denali? Because you have to carry the sledge and 30 to 40 kg load as well. So it makes a difficult thing with a vertical climb. So how did you prepare for it?
Well, we didn't prepare too much, and the dredging the sledges was definitely an issue. Going up is more or less okay. We should have practiced probably, I don't know where, going down, because going down with a sledge, especially on a slope, you know, it's somewhere left or right from you trying to pull you down. That's pretty nasty. I think now what we probably should have done is tie all the slides together. You know, you're on the rope, so they can't go all the way. But we didn't do that, so that was a real struggle. And for the rest, you need some winter camping skills, because it is a cold mountain. It's really cold, and we typically dug a snow hole to sleep. We built small walls. I bought a snow saw for this. Now you can saw from the snow big blocks to build small walls.
Sort of igloo type.
Sorry?
Sort of igloo type.
Yeah. Sort of igloo. Yeah. And that's quite essential, but it's not difficult. You get a hang of it once you're there, and you can look, you know, what other people do. You're not alone on Denali, because a lot of Americans want to climb it. Americans take a lot of stuff. They take way too much. But and then that's also the planning. One thing that's very important, you should have enough time, because only about half the people actually reach the summit. And for a lot of Americans, because they plan not enough time, and you know, their flight back is booked, they have to return before they, you know, they can climb it. We were stuck in basin camp, in medical camp, for 6 or 7 days in our snow cave, because the weather was too bad.
Yeah.
And, well, you need that time, you know, you can't do anything, so you're just sitting there.
Yeah.
That's
So how when the weather is bad, you just sit there. What things are going in your mind that time?
Well, first of all, you're not only sitting there because it was bad weather, so 4 or 5 times a day you have to go out to get the snow off your tents, otherwise they collapse.
Okay.
You have to collect snow to make water, because you need to drink a lot. And the snow in the camp, fresh snow is useless, because you need, I don't know, lots of it, and you get very little water. So you need old, compact snow, and you should get it way out of the camp, because in the camp the snow might be yellow, and you don't want to drink that. So, so you know, you're kind of busy to some extent. And for the rest of the time, yeah, we had a few books which we tore in 2 pieces, so 2 people could read 1 book. This type of thing.
Oh, that's interesting. And how many camps are there for Denali to summit the peak? How many camps are there to summit the Denali? Like Camp 1, Camp 2, Camp 3?
Oh, that's a good question. You have the base camp, then you have a camp, I think called Snow Hill. You have a camp at Kahitna Pass. Then you go to, you make an intermediate camp. Then you go to basin camp. That's the main camp. Medical camp or basin camp. That's and high camp.
Okay.
And from high camp, you go through Denali Pass to the summit.
Okay. So there are 5 camps.
Yeah,
total
about
camp?
5, I think. Yeah.
Okay. Okay. What was your worst experience on Denali? Worst and best experience on Denali?
Oh, the worst was I got undercooled.
Oh,
The reason is, yeah, I've been undercooled 3 times in my life, and Denali was one of them. Um, Actually, you don't experience it as bad because one of the things of undercooling is that you get totally indifferent. You're just not interested anymore. That's why people die, because they're not interested anymore. No, the thing is, after we've been a week in the snow cave, we ran out of food.
mm-hmm.
And normally, I'm the same weight since I'm 18. I'm 72 kilograms for the
Okay.
last 40 years. But when I came back from Denali, I was only 62. So I
Oh,
lost 10 kilograms. And that's probably because we didn't have enough food when we got in the snow cave. Then when we climbed the head wall, and then you have to do the summit ridge, it was very, very windy. And your thermal clothing doesn't fit if you've lost that much weight. So the
yeah.
wind blew underneath my clothes and I got undercooled. And then it's very funny. We were in high camp,
Mm-hmm.
and the guys were very busy, sewing snow blocks, putting up the tents, this type of thing. And I just sat, you know,
Oh,
watching them do nothing. And then one of them, Frank, he said kind of, oh, something wrong. I said, yeah, I think I'm undercooled. Well, he realized what was going on. So they put me in a down sleeping bag, poured
okay.
hot tea in me, and
Oh,
next day I summited. So that was fine. But it's
oh.
very risky.
Yeah, yeah, again, because you're staying at that altitude for so many long days, which affects your body as well. So, and a
Yeah,
10 kg loss is too much. In that 10 kg, you lost the muscle as well and many more
yeah,
things. So it's
yeah. And
actually
it's
risky.
the
Yeah.
muscle that's mainly on Everest. If you're really high, over 7,000,
Mm-hmm.
you start losing muscle. On Everest, you lose as soon as you're above, 7,500, you lose 3 pounds a day.
Okay. Okay.
Every time I came back from Everest, I lost 25 pounds.
Okay. Yeah. So we have a question in the chat box.
Yeah.
I'll ask. How much of food and fuel does one plan for, considering the climb could get extended because of bad weather? Do you have possibilities of replenishment if required there?
No, not really. What you have to do on Denali, that's very important.
Mm-hmm.
You take all your stuff, but you bury it in what you call a cache. So you in base camp, you bury part of your food, and you have to bury it about a meter deep, 3-4 feet deep, because there are birds, Arctic raven, which are like bluebirds and crows, intelligent, and they know where you use your food, because you must put a flag in it, because if it snows,
Oh,
like 2 meters, you would lose it. So you put a big pole, very thin pole with a flag on your cache, and these animals know where it is and they dig it up. But if it's more than a meter, it's too deep, they won't do it.
mm-hmm.
So you bury food in many places. When we were stuck in medical camp and ran out of food, we had food in snow hill camp, we had food in base camp, we had gone up the head wall, so we had food on top of the head wall, but we ran out of the food locally, and because the weather was so bad, we couldn't go anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
The funny thing is that was a good thing. Once we were totally out of food, there were Americans going back, and they gave their food to us. So we kind
Oh,
of lived off the excess that the Americans took.
yeah. Oh, that's great. That was the question. And what makes the Denali difficult than other seven summits? Other summits? Bec-
I'm not. Well, I don't think Denali is the most difficult. Um, I think if you look at all these the 7 summits, there's 3 things that determine how difficult they are. It's how difficult they are technically, for climbing wise, the height, the altitude, and the general conditions.
Mhm.
And technically climbing, Carsten's Pyramid on
Mhm.
Papua New Guinea is by far the most difficult.
Oh,
Everest is that difficult. you know, say on a scale from 1 to 10, Everest might be 7, Karstens 9, and Denali probably something like 5.
Oh,
Kilimanjaro is 1 or 2. That's just walking up. That's the easiest. So this is okay. Then the second thing is the altitude, and Denali is reasonably high. And the third thing is the conditions, and how long it takes, how cold it is. Well, Everest again is the worst, but Denali is pretty bad as well. And if you rank them all together, actually there's a guy, a Dutch guy, who writes these little booklets. Actually, I took the one for, it's this one. You may see it, Denali.
okay.
There's a whole series of those. He's called Harry Kikstra. It's a Dutch guy, and he ranks them, and he basically says, you know, kind of on the total scheme, from, you know, 1 till 10, Everest is 9, Kilimanjaro is 1 or 2, and Denali is the second after Everest, the most difficult, and I think he ranks it 7 or 8. So it's really difficult, not only because the technicalities, it's not very technical, but it's the cold, the length, you know, altitude, that combination.
Yeah, weather condition, mainly of weather condition, because you earlier said that you have to wait for 5 to 6 days. That takes a lot of patience and lot of mental stability to wait there and again go for the summit.
Yeah, well, and not too fast, because actually when we were there, 2 people killed themselves, an American guy and a Polish guy, just because they couldn't wait. They took a chance. They thought, well, the weather clears up a bit. And then they killed themselves.
Okay.
Climbing, you know, at a period that was not good enough.
Yeah. How many days take you to complete the Denali?
Oh, good question. I think just over 3 weeks. Not too long.
Oh, 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, it's not like Everest, it takes 2 months. No.
Yeah.
Nor like Aconcagua, which takes, you know, less than 2 weeks.
Yeah, I was watching the documentary on Discovery about Denali. They also told about that you will take maximum 1 month. If weather is too bad, then it will take maximum 1 month. But it's but here are the camps are more, plus the weather condition, plus here I don't think so you will get any kind of pleasure thing. Like here you will see the only cold days. Do you face any snow blindness or something? Because I was watching the thing.
You remind of it. It's the only time I got snow blind was in Denali. My only one eye, my left eye, got snow blind, and that's terrible. It hurts, and the worst thing is, because it hurts, you start crying. And if your left eye cries, at least with me, my right eye cries as well. So you have 2 crying eyes, and you don't see a thing. So it's very cumbersome. And the probably worst thing of being snowblind is that your eye gets sensitive. Even now, I was in the Alps 2 weeks ago. If there's bright sunlight, my eye starts to hurt. Although, you know, I'm not snowblind, it just gets more sensitive. So you should really protect your eyes to prevent it, because it's a nasty condition.
So, so do we have any helicopter rescue there if any mishaps happen there?
Yeah, they do. I think they do. Yeah, they have these small planes, and I think they do everything with planes. I'm not sure about helicopters, but it's the United States. They'll have something.
Okay.
And there's ranges in Basin Camp at 4,500, and they have a small weather station, so it's reasonably well looked after.
That is the main thing. And we have one more question that she is asking. Just a second. How many load ferries we have to do from like for Everest we do 4 to 5 from base camp to camp 1, then we came back for acclimatization. How many load ferries we do?
We just did 1 for each camp. So we went from base camp to Snow Hill, you know, and then left stuff. Then we went up to Kehiltner Pass, went back to Snow Hill, took more stuff Kehiltner Pass. So basically only one carry from each camp. And that's because you have a sledge. So you can take much more than on Everest. On Everest, you're limited. Because, well, if you climb from the south, you have the Khumbu Icefall. You definitely don't take a sledge there. And from the north, there's big parts without snow. So you can't have a sledge.
That's great experience about your Denali. And you want to add any points or any book you would like to tell you about the Denali, which I could not ask or anything?
Oh, good question. No, it's fun. Actually, in medical camp, it's well, yeah, that's an interesting thing about Denali. Medical camp is also called basin camp, and it's like it's a glacier, but it's a shallow glacier, and it's on a rock that is kind of curved, and which basically means that everything that comes in never goes out. For that reason, you have to collect your own excrements. And so when you are in Talkeetna, you have to visit the ranges and you get instructions. You get a clean mountain container, a CMC, and you have to collect your own shit in that. You get plastic bags and everything. And when you get back, you have to deliver it to them. They weigh it and they have a chart with your body weight and height, and then they can estimate how much you should have produced, so you can't cheat. And, that's very interesting. And the funny thing is kind of, well, first of all, nobody calls the CMCs clean mountain containers, but carry my crap. And you get used to it very, very fast. After 2 days, we buried our own shit with our food because it's almost instantly frozen. But it's one of those things to keep the mountain clean, especially medical camp. You have to collect on your own excrement.
Yeah, that is the best thing about keeping our mountain safe and all these things. That this is very good information, and it's actually shocking as well, and it's actually useful for we can practice here in India as well, or in every mountains.
Yeah, for Everest it would be very good. Actually, they do the same thing on Aconcagua, but they are way less strict than in the United States. So they don't weigh it. You're supposed to bring it back, but nobody really checks. But in the United States, they weigh it and they control you.
That's great. This was your second summit. So how was your feeling after summiting the Denali?
Well, we were very relieved because when we climbed it, only 42% that season reached the summit, so we were lucky. Yeah, it was very nice. The views are beautiful and everything. The most striking thing was actually all the summits are quite nasty places. You're very exposed. It's windy. So you're there, you take your photographs and then you go down. And then we had a satellite phone. So I called my wife and told us, you know, we've done it and we're fine and we're going down now. And then Jeroen, I shared a tent with him and we climbed together. He called his girlfriend and he was telling her, and I was sitting next to him, and I thought kind of, was I with him? It sounded really bad, you know, how he had suffered everything. And I had I think I can suffer really well because I had no experience of, it didn't feel that bad at all. I was relieved and quite happy, but I thought it was very interesting that, you know, two people do exactly the same thing, experienced in a totally different way.
Yeah, it depends on person to person and preparation, I'll say. Preparation plays, previous experience, you had the experience of the mountains, so...
Much more than him, that's true.
Yeah. So if anybody has any question about Denali, please ask in the chat box. Otherwise, we'll move for the other summits. Basically, we'll move towards Everest. Yeah, I'll just wait for a second. I'll see to it. Yeah. one of the question is, till which camp can the uh, till which camp can the carry be made with sledges? Till which camp
Ah,
we,
yeah,
yeah.
until medical camp. So it's 4,500.
Okay.
That's doable. And then you have the key passage, the head wall. So that's a steep
Oh,
ice wall, and you can't
yeah.
take your sledge. So once you're there, you can't take anything anymore.
Okay.
But then it's only like high camp summit, so it's just 3 days basically. So you can carry your food and stuff.
Mhm. Okay. Someone is asking, is it Denali difficult summit than K2? It's
I don't
obviously
know. I
not.
haven't done K2. I haven't done K2.
Yeah, but
But I
I think,
think actually K2 is 2,000 meters higher almost. So no more, just over 2,000 meters higher. So it must be a hell of a lot more difficult.
yeah, right. So it was great experience about your Denali. And how many team members were there, and how many were submitted basically?
Four. We were at four.
And
Four guys.
four of them were submitted.
Yeah. We submitted together. Yeah.
Oh, that's wonderful, because it's another feeling that you are spending so much days in mountains and you can submit. Uh, then that will be the another best thing happen in the trekking and mountaineering, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, we'll move towards your the seven summits. Uh, Other Everest thing. So you have done the summit from South Cole and North Cole as well. So we
Yeah.
have, yeah, we heard everything about, heard about South side. We wanted to know about the North side. How did you start? From where did you start? And tell us about everything.
Yeah.
Because
Well, I did in 2012. I tried from the south,
Mhm.
but I only got to 8,600.
Okay.
So 200 meters above the balcony, and then the weather turned really, really bad. Actually, that night, quite a few people died. Um, Strong wind, extremely cold. I had a frozen eye. My right eye froze. Both my cheeks were black with bleeding blisters. So
Right.
we turned back. Um, then in 2014, I always climb with the same Sherpa, Namgia. And
Mhm.
I met him on Antarctica, and we
Mhm.
can get along very well. He spends holidays with his wife in my house in the Netherlands. So um, actually, I
Family.
called him this morning. I had a chat with him this morning. And he was in 2014 in the big avalanche in the Kumbu Icefall.
Okay.
And he was with 5 on a rope, and 3
Mhm.
of the people on the rope died,
Mhm.
among which his cousin, Dorji. And then I called him I heard about, so I called his wife, what happened. And then she said, well, kind of, Namgia is still fine, but Dorji died. And actually 16 Sherpas died then. And then Namgia said kind of, I'll never climb from the
Oh,
south anymore. So
okay.
in 2015, the two of us climbed from the north. So then I still went to Kathmandu to
Mhm.
meet Namgia and some other stuff. And then we flew to Lhasa
Mhm.
in Tibet. And then from Tibet, you take a long tour to, basically the Chinese who occupy Tibet have built a really nice highway at
Yeah.
5,000 meters, which goes almost completely to base
Base
camp.
camp.
Actually,
Yeah.
they built a kind of fake base camp for tourists,
Oh.
but the real climbers can go a bit further to the real base camp. And
Oh.
um, it's very different than the
South.
south. The south, of course, you have the Kumbu Icefall, which
Mhm.
is fantastic ice climbing. It's really very nice, but it's
Mhm.
very dangerous.
Mhm.
Um, and then for the rest, there's no difficulties. I think you have the
Okay.
Lhotse phase, which is a bit steep, but technically not very difficult. Um,
Okay.
on the north, the distances are way larger. It's you have to, it's more than 20 kilometers, so it takes longer going back and forth.
Mhm.
Um, and I think apart from advanced base camp up to the uh, the North Col, is probably the most difficult part.
Mm-hmm.
And the stretch from the first camp after advanced base camp to the second camp is pretty terrible as well. The good thing of the north is that high camp is higher. It's at 8,300. So the actual summit day or night takes shorter than on the south side, which is an advantage, I think.
Okay. That's another great information, because earlier we have one lady, that is Squadron Leader Tulika Rani. She had educated about the South Cone, and now our guests get to know about the North Cone experiences. And there are 2-3 questions I'll ask you. Which year did you submitted the North, and which year did you submitted South? And when did you meet? And when did you meet the Bharat?
Yeah, I said I went up in 2015, and
then
I didn't come higher than 7,000 because I was sitting in advanced base camp 6,500, and then all of a sudden the Earth started to move for about 40 seconds, which is very strange. You think you're sitting on the biggest rock on Earth, and all of a sudden it starts shaking. We have no clue what happened. With the satellite phone we called, and they said, oh, probably an earthquake in Nepal, in Pokhara, something. We had no clue that this was the big earthquake. Actually, the next day we went up a bit, but the weather turned bad. And then we decided to go back to base camp to wait for better weather. And then all of a sudden the Chinese army appeared, green tents around our little orange tents, and they kicked me out. And I learned you can't argue with the Chinese army. That's very difficult. So they were kicked out. And then the year after, in 2016, I came back. Again, I was alone with Namgia. And then we, well, actually, I went with his brother. It's a long story. Namgia is climbs Mount Vincent every year. He's there 3 months each year. He summited Vincent 30 times. I think he has got the world championship on that one. But in November 2015, he fell on Vincent 1,020 meters, more than a kilometer. And he survived, which is a miracle, but his right leg was totally shattered. So he couldn't. He was in hospital for 32 days. I called him every day, and then at a certain moment he said, oh, Peter, we need to talk. I said, well, I already know what you're going to say. You're not going to climb Everest with me in 4 months from now. He said, no, but will you climb with my brother, Pasang? So I climbed with his brother, Pasang.
Okay. And when did you meet the Bharat, sir?
Sorry, when?
When did you meet Bharat Thamineni?
Bharat?
Yeah.
Yeah, I met him in 2012 and in 2015. We were both the south and the north at the time. So we did the puja together and everything.
That's a great thing. So which one is your favorite one in Everest? South side or north side?
Oh, that's a good question. I really like the Kumbu Icefall because I love ice climbing. So that's that's really nice. Although it's dangerous, it's very nice. But the north is much quieter. Very few people there. Yeah. And actually, when I climbed, I'm a fast climber. I know. So we set out from high camp. There were 7 teams climbing. 2 hours after the last team, but then we passed them all, and then you're the first. So I was the first on the first step, second step, the ridge, everywhere, and you don't have to wait anywhere. So no queue, no nothing, being the first everywhere. I really liked it. The only drawback was that I summited at 3:45 in the morning because we thought it would take 10 hours, and it only took us 6 hours and 3/4 of an hour, so less than 7 hours. So we were a bit too early.
Right. And I would like to ask you about the Everest. Have you faced any difficulties? Because you took in 2007 you have started the seven summit like Elbrus. Why did you take so long years to complete the 7 summits?
No, I did. I did one each year. Well, I did 2007 Elbrus, 2009 I did Denali, and then 2010 Aconcagua, 11 Vincent, 12 tried Everest, failed. Summit, 13 Kilimanjaro, 14 Carstens, 15 Everest again, failed. And the 16 again. So I did just one a year. I don't have more holiday.
Yeah. Basically, you are working with, and you have this lot of degree of your PhD. So I know.
Yeah. But for Everest, you need 2 months of holidays, which is difficult.
But you have proved yourself in the mountains earlier, and your field is related to environment and all these things. They have given you the holiday.
Oh yeah. The real secret is I hired my own boss. It's the best advice I can give to anybody. Hire your own boss.
Oh my God. Okay, just a second. We have a question. Was it always a dream to do 7 summit, or just happened? Like earlier you said.
Yeah, it's a good question. Kind of, as I said, in the beginning, I had no clue. After, I did Aconcagua, the 3rd, then suddenly I realized, I've done 3. I can do the others. And then I thought I'd do the most difficult one to organize everything. And it was Vincent. So I did Vincent the 4th. And when I did that one, I met Namgia there, and then I asked him, if I ever go to Everest, will you come with me? He said yes. And then I was definitely determined to do them all.
That's
only when I did 3. Yeah.
Yeah. Like, and which one of the 7 summits your favorite summit other than Everest?
Vincent is by far the most beautiful. If there's one place on Earth I would be allowed to go back to, it would be Antarctica. That's absolutely amazing.
Okay. And why is it so? Can you elaborate about the Vincent summit that we have time? So
well, Antarctica is big. It's bigger than Europe. In January, which is the midst of the summer, there's like 700 people. An area bigger than Europe. So and almost everybody's on the geographical South Pole. There's a science center, whatever. And in the Ellsworth mountain range, they can't handle more than 50 people at a time. When I was there, a lot of things happened. In the end, we were about 20. So you're about 20 people, in the size half of Europe, and there's snow everywhere. The sun never sets, it's always shining. It's absolutely amazing. And you can do, you can be the first to climb mountains there, everywhere. There's many mountains, and the vast majority has never been climbed.
Right. That's wonderful. I'll definitely give it a try. I'll do that. We have Boots and Crampons arranging those summits, so we'll do that, definitely.
Yeah.
You're going to tell something, or?
No, I can see a question. Any other 8,000 is planned?
Yeah.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I planned last year to climb Kanchenjunga, which is the 3rd highest in the world, after Everest and K2. Kanchenjunga, which actually is on the border of India and Nepal.
But it's India's highest peak. Yeah. So you have a plan.
It's a Sikkim. Well, then I'm definitely planning to climb an Indian peak. I wanted to do it last year, but then I became grandfather, and at the climbing period, and I've been married for more than 30 years, and I thought, if I'm not there when the baby is born, I probably can file for a divorce. So I postponed to this year. Then Corona happened, and everything was cancelled.
Yeah.
And that's why I called Namgia this morning, because now we're planning for next year, April, May. Yeah. And that's my secret dream. Kanchenjunga has never been successfully climbed by a Dutchman, so I want to be the first.
That's wonderful, and all the best for that. And you are the young grandfather, I will say, because you don't look like grandfather. I have saw
Oh,
your videos on your blogs. Like when you do the rock climbing and all these things, you don't look like that.
well, I'm
That's
60 years old.
yeah. In the in the introduction, I told them that we have the young 60-year-old mountaineer. So
Ah, that's very good. That's very good.
yeah.
No, and my oldest son, he married very young. He was 22 when he married,
Oh,
and 27 when he became father. So,
oh,
but it's
that's
fantastic. It's absolutely fantastic to be a grandfather.
yeah. Yeah. And I was reading your blog, and you have done the Ecuadorian volcanoes expedition. So tell us
Yes.
about that.
Yeah, the reason is kind of actually I climbed Kilimanjaro with
Hmm.
both my sons, which were then I think 13 and 20 years old. Um, so basically, all my children, I've got two boys and a girl, and they all climb. So my daughter, you know, didn't join Kilimanjaro, so she had still something to do. And
Okay.
then basically, there's three mountains on the globe that can claim to be the highest. Of
Mm-hmm.
course, Everest, the highest above sea level. But in Ecuador, you have Chimborazo, and that's
Mm-hmm.
the highest mountain if you calculate from the center of the Earth.
Mm-hmm.
Because the Earth spins, it's flattened a bit, and Chimborazo sticks 2.2 kilometers more into the universe than Everest. So I wanted to climb that one. So I went with my daughter to Ecuador, and we climbed a whole bunch of volcanoes, including
Yeah.
Chimborazo. It was
Yeah.
very
Yeah.
nice to be with my daughter there for a while.
Yeah. So you have basically mountain family. I'll name it as a mountain family. Yeah. And would you like to your grandchild to do 7 summits?
I'm not sure the seven summits, but actually, this is a true story. I did last year. I had to do the what's called the expert class again
Mm-hmm.
for being an alpine instructor for the continuous education, and they wanted me to climb a really difficult pillar somewhere in France in the Écrin. And
Oh.
the guide who there's three of you, you know, you take the master class with three persons and a guide, and this guide said, "Oh, you should bring your comfortable climbing shoes." I thought that's a contradiction in itself, you know. These
Yeah.
climbing shoes are terrible, they're tight, they're horrible, they're never comfortable. So I said, I only climb on these shoes,
Right.
and this thing is probably way too difficult for me anyway.
Mm-hmm.
And in the end, I did climb a pillar, all right. But then I explained to him, kind of, it's a kind of, you know, you can do it with the other two, but, you know, I might just walk to another hut because my future in 5 years from now is not to climb really difficult peaks, but to walk with my granddaughter from one hut to
Mm-hmm.
another. And I'm very serious, you know. I won't do
Right.
this
Right.
forever, but I hope to be able to at least introduce my granddaughter to mountaineering to
Right.
some extent.
Yeah.
Probably my
Definitely.
daughter-in-law is the one who's going to limit me because she doesn't like it.
Oh, yeah. But eventually you will do it. I'm confident about it. So yeah, that's all. It was basically great having you on the Boots and Crampons. I didn't understand how that 1 hour has been passed. Basically, I get to know more knowledge about this mountaineering and basically of the Denali, and our audience also get that. So, which was another great experience. And when you will come to India, we'll definitely we are going to meet. Yeah, when you
Yeah,
go
well,
for
it's my
adventure.
pleasure
Yeah,
to have talked to you. It's really enjoyable, and
yeah,
I'm looking forward to the next one
yeah,
on Boots and
definitely,
Crampons.
definitely. So thank you so much again, Peter, for
You're welcome.
giving your time. I could understand the time difference between Netherlands and Indian time. So you have managed it for us. So thanks a lot again, and
No
all the
problem.
best for your next adventure. And welcome to the Kanchenjunga. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah,
Well, follow my blog, Dutch
yeah,
Everest,
definitely. Yeah, yeah.
NL.
Yeah, if you want to get any information or any blog, any about his information or his summits, you will get his blog. I'll send the link in the next IGTV videos.
Yeah.
We'll share this IGTV videos and we'll share your link there. From there, they will go to your blog and they can read it.
Perfect. And I apologize, the older ones are in Dutch. The last few years I do them in English, but because there's quite a few people following in the world and they don't, there's very, very few people who speak Dutch in the world.
Yeah. Yeah, but now we have this English translation is also there, so it's not a problem for that.
Okay,
yeah.
Well, we'll see.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, so again, thanks a lot.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so good night. Take care.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Everyone is saying thanks a lot. You can see the messages.
Yeah, I can read them.
Yeah. She is Kamya Karthikeyan. She is the youngest Indian who climbed youngest.
I saw that.
Yeah, youngest one who climbed the Aconcagua, and she is also going to climb the 7 summits, and she is going to complete the Explorer's Grand Slam. So
very good.
It was very helpful for her and all of us.
Thank you.
Yeah. So thanks a lot. I'm closing this window. Bye bye. Yeah.
Bye bye.
Yeah. So thanks a lot, guys. This is it for our Mount Denali. If any of you guys has missed the previous videos or previous session, you will get it on our IGTV videos. If you want to listen it on Spotify, you will get there as well. Just you have to type the Learning 7 Summits and you are good to go. So good night, take care, and we will meet on next Friday, same time. Thank you so much.